Have you ever imagined waking up on the morning your CPP or old age security payment is supposed to arrive, making a cup of coffee, opening your banking app, and seeing that your deposit isn't there? Your rent is due in a few days. Your prescription medication needs to be refilled. The grocery bill is waiting on the kitchen counter. Within seconds, panic sets in. Most Canadian seniors immediately think, Service Canada must have made a mistake. But what if the problem isn't with Service Canada at all? What if your payment is delayed because of something as simple as outdated banking information, an old mailing address, an unanswered verification request, or a tax record that was never updated? The most surprising part is that many seniors don't receive a personal warning before these issues affect their payments. By the time they realize something is wrong, they're already calling Service Canada, waiting on hold, and wondering when their money will finally arrive. If you receive CPP, OAS, or the Guaranteed Income Supplement, today's video could save you from that exact situation. Before August 1st, there are 5 important things every Canadian senior should verify, and most people don't even realize these checks exist. Even one small mistake can create unnecessary delays, especially because CPP, OAS, GIS, and CRA records are more connected than many Canadians think. And no, this isn't about a new government benefit or a surprise payment increase. It's about protecting the benefits you've already earned after years of hard work. Over the next few minutes, I'll explain the 5 simple checks you should make before August 1st, why they matter, and how a small oversight in one government record can sometimes affect more than one benefit. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to verify, where to check it, and how to avoid the stress that catches thousands of Canadian seniors by surprise every year. So before your next payment date arrives, let's make sure none of these hidden issues stand in your way. Have you ever imagined waking up on the morning your CPP or old age security payment is supposed to arrive, pouring yourself a cup of coffee, opening your online banking, and seeing that your deposit simply isn't there? For many Canadian seniors, that moment would be frightening. Your rent or mortgage payment is due, your utility bills are waiting, your prescription medications need to be picked up, and suddenly you're wondering what went wrong. Most people immediately assume that Service Canada made a mistake or that the bank is experiencing a temporary problem. But what if the real reason isn't a government error at all? What if it's something as simple as outdated banking information, an old mailing address, a missed verification request, or information that no longer matches between Service Canada and the Canada Revenue Agency? These are the kinds of small details that many seniors never think about until they become very big problems. The difficult part is that the government doesn't always send a personal reminder telling you exactly what needs to be checked before every payment cycle. In many situations, people only discover there's an issue after their expected payment doesn't arrive on time. If you receive Canada Pension Plan benefits, old age security, the Guaranteed Income Supplement, or if you expect to receive these programs in the future, today's video could save you from unnecessary stress. Before August 1st, there are 5 important things every Canadian senior should verify. And surprisingly, most people don't even realize these simple checks can make such a big difference. Before I explain them, if you enjoy simple, reliable updates about CPP, OAS, GIS, CRA rules, and everything that affects Canadian seniors, take a moment to subscribe to Canada Seniors Update. Every week, we explain complicated government information in plain English so you know exactly what matters and what doesn't. Service Canada and the CRA regularly update forms, procedures, and benefit information throughout the year, but those updates often receive very little attention in the news. Our goal is to make sure you hear about them before they become expensive surprises. Now, let's begin with something that many Canadians misunderstand. Once people start receiving CPP or OAS, they often believe everything will continue automatically forever without needing to check anything again. While it's true that these programs are designed to provide ongoing monthly benefits for eligible Canadians, they still depend on accurate information. Behind every payment is a record containing your personal details, your banking information, your mailing address, your tax information, and other important data that helps the government make sure benefits are being paid correctly. If one of those details becomes outdated, it can sometimes create delays that could have been avoided with just a few minutes of checking. What surprises many seniors is that these government programs are more connected than they appear. CPP, OAS, GIS, and CRA records don't exist completely separately. They often rely on the same personal information, which means an issue affecting one government record can sometimes create unexpected complications somewhere else. That's one of the reasons retirement advisors encourage their clients to review their information every year, even if nothing seems to have changed. They know that prevention is much easier than fixing a problem after it happens. Unfortunately, most Canadian seniors only learn this lesson when they receive a letter asking for more information or when a payment doesn't arrive exactly as expected. The good news is that avoiding these situations is usually much easier than people think. In most cases, you don't need complicated paperwork or expensive professional advice. You simply need to know what to check and where to look. That's exactly what we'll cover today. The first thing every Canadian senior should verify before August 1st is their direct deposit information. It sounds simple, but this is one of the most commonly overlooked details. Many people change banks after retirement because another financial institution offers lower fees or better services. Others open joint accounts after getting married or after the loss of a spouse. Sometimes account numbers change because of bank mergers or account upgrades. If Service Canada still has old banking information on file, your payment may not be deposited where you expect. In many situations, the money isn't permanently lost, but the payment can be returned and may require additional processing before it is sent again. That extra processing time can create unnecessary worry, especially if you rely on your monthly benefit to pay essential expenses. Even if you believe your banking information is already correct, it's still worth taking a few minutes to confirm it through your My Service Canada account. Never assume that because your bank has your updated information, Service Canada automatically received it as well. They maintain their own records, and those records must also be accurate. Another important point that many people overlook is their mailing address. Some seniors think that once they're receiving direct deposit, their mailing address no longer matters. Unfortunately, that isn't true. Service Canada and the Canada Revenue Agency still send important notices, tax slips, eligibility reviews, and verification requests through regular mail. If you've moved recently, downsized your home, relocated closer to family, or spend several months each year in another province, you should make sure your mailing address is completely up to date. Missing an important government letter doesn't always create an immediate problem, but it can delay future payments if the government requires additional information and never receives your response. By spending just a few minutes reviewing your personal information today, you can greatly reduce the chances of facing unexpected delays later. And that's only the beginning because the next three checks are even more important, especially the hidden connection between your tax records and your government benefits that many Canadian seniors never discover until it's already affecting their payments. The next thing every Canadian senior should check before August 1st is whether their most recent income tax return has been filed and successfully processed by the Canada Revenue Agency. This may not sound connected to your monthly benefits, but it is much more important than many people realize. Thousands of seniors believe that because they are retired and owe little or no tax, filing their return is no longer a priority. Unfortunately, that misunderstanding can create unnecessary problems. Programs like the Guaranteed Income Supplement are income tested, which means the government uses the information from your annual tax return to determine whether you qualify and exactly how much you should receive. If your tax return has not been filed or has not yet been processed, your GIS entitlement may be affected until your income information is confirmed. Many people are surprised when this happens because they continue receiving their Canada Pension Plan payment and assume every other benefit will continue automatically as well. The reality is that CPP, OAS, and GIS all have different eligibility rules, and while they work together in many ways, they do not always respond to the same information in the same manner. That is why filing your taxes every year, even if you have little income, remains one of the most important responsibilities for Canadian seniors. The fourth thing you should verify is that your personal information is accurate across both Service Canada and CRA records. It might seem like a small detail, but something as simple as an outdated mailing address, an old phone number, an incorrect spelling of your name, or a marital status that has never been updated can sometimes create unnecessary verification requests. Imagine becoming widowed, getting remarried, legally changing your name, or moving to another province without updating every government department involved. One office may have your current information, while another still has older records. When those records no longer match, additional verification may be required before certain requests or account changes can be completed. Most of the time, these situations are resolved without major issues, but they often take time, and delays are frustrating when you depend on your monthly benefits for everyday expenses. Spending just a few minutes confirming that your personal details are correct can prevent a great deal of stress later. Now, here is something that many retirement professionals understand, but most Canadians never hear about until they experience a problem themselves. Government benefit programs are connected much more closely than people realize. They may be administered by different departments, but they often rely on shared information. That means one missing update can create a chain reaction. For example, an outdated address may prevent you from receiving an important review letter. If that letter requires additional information and you never respond because you never received it, your file could remain incomplete until the matter is resolved. Likewise, if your annual tax return is delayed, GIS calculations may also be delayed because those payments depend on your reported income. Understanding these connections helps explain why keeping every record current is so important. Canadians who work with professional retirement planners usually know this already. Their advisors remind them every year to review their Service Canada account, confirm their CRA information, and check whether any changes have occurred that could affect future benefits. Most Canadian seniors, however, never receive that kind of guidance. Instead, they only discover these rules after something unexpected happens. That is why videos like this matter. A few simple checks today can help you avoid hours of phone calls and weeks of uncertainty later. There is another point that deserves attention. Many seniors believe that if they have been receiving benefits for several years without any problems, there is no reason to review their information again. But circumstances change, banks merge, accounts are updated, addresses change, tax situations change, and government systems are regularly modernized. Even if nothing has changed in your own life, confirming that everything remains accurate provides peace of mind before the next payment cycle begins. It is always better to discover a small issue while you still have time to fix it than after your payment date has already passed. In the next part of this video, I'll explain the fifth and most overlooked check that Canadian seniors often forget completely. I'll also show you the hidden connection between Service Canada and CRA that surprises many retirees, along with 3 simple steps you can take this week to protect your CPP, OAS, and GIS benefits before the next payment arrives. Those final steps only take a few minutes, but they could save you from unnecessary delays and a great deal of stress in the months ahead. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a delayed CPP, OAS, or GIS payment because of an address change, banking update, or another simple administrative issue? Share your experience and your province in the comments below. It may help another Canadian senior avoid the same problem. If you found today's video helpful, please subscribe to Canada Seniors Update for trusted updates on CPP, OAS, GIS, CRA, and other important retirement topics. Thank you so much for watching. Stay informed, stay safe, take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.